Hello, I'm Anatole, and this is my reaction video to The Crown Season 1, Episode 9, titled Assassins, and it scored 9.2 on imdb.com, and that's from 3,500 votes. Now, for longtime viewers, I have to say welcome back. It's been a long pause, about 7 months, and so you may be wondering exactly why it was the video stopped for such a long time. And the reason for that is, unfortunately, I've been dealing with some eye and some ear issues for this time, and it's gotten a little bit better, good enough that for about the past month and a half I've begun making videos again, but I'm still not at 100%. I'm just taking it one day at a time. So hopefully today, right now you're watching me do video 9, and I hope sooner rather than later I'll have episode 10 up, and that'll complete season 1. But it's still not, I'm not 100%, so don't be too surprised if it takes a little longer for me to release episode number 10. Now, I do have to also preface the reaction by saying that because it's been such a long time since I watched the first episodes, what happened when I was doing my reaction to one of the other series I'm covering is I discovered quite quickly I had forgotten the names of a few of the characters and was a little fuzzy on the plot. So if that happens during my reaction video, just bear with me. And remember that when I come back to do my review at the end of the reaction, I will watch the video a couple times more. So when I do my review, I will have seen the episode 3 times. And if I find that it's a problem of me remembering all the characters, I'll go back and I'll watch a couple of the episodes from before, probably like episodes 7 and 8, to just kind of get up to speed again. Hopefully that's not an issue, but we'll have to see. So thank you for joining me after that long break that I had. And after the intro, come back when I will do my reaction to The Crown Season 1, Episode number 9, Assassins. See you then. I was not expecting to begin with the American ballad. Could be a British ballad, actually.
Hello, Torchy.
I don't know these characters.
The taxi driver did, yes.
Yeah, so I should add the spoiler here that I'm pretty sure this is a Winston Churchill episode.
Fine dining in central London. One had a special question to ask.
Okay, so there are these Churchill's parents. So I'm about to say, the series has been not very spoiled for me at all, but I do recall reading somewhere episode 9 was a Churchill episode.
I'm a poet, not a horse breeder. Will you marry me?
So yes.
I would love to.
But?
On one condition. That you don't still hold a torch for her.
Fair enough. We don't know who, but fair enough. Queen Elizabeth?
I won't deny it.
Interesting.
Except for the fact it was never on the cards.
So I don't know who this is. I was guessing Churchill's parents because it would make sense that we see the parents getting together before getting into the episode about Churchill, but I was not expecting to get Queen Elizabeth, something related to her at all. Quite the cad. He's really not coming out very well at the end of this season. The way the distance in their marriage seems to be portrayed, the growing gap. Yeah, that is not a functioning marriage there. Now, this might be Churchill. So that would go in line with me hearing this is a Churchill episode.
Right you are, John. Yes, I'll let him know.
Look at the reflection of the lake, the manor, and the window.
Who?
The painter. Paint your portrait.
What portrait?
Interesting camera angles.
Portraits commissioned by both houses.
Sutherland?
So his angle we're kind of leveled to him, but here we're looking up at the wife.
The modernist with an English name.
So in both shots we're at the perspective of Churchill.
I hope I'm not disturbing.
It quite is.
Goodness.
Am I disturbing?
Goodness says if the British speak goodness means yes, you
I
are.
think we're making a mistake. What will we do if he plays out before the race?
He always plays up.
Oh, her horse. So it is her trainer.
You don't. I am right sometimes, you know. Even you said yourself that I have good instincts.
Yeah, she's smart. Queen is smart.
I might well live to regret it.
Curious what the title is going to refer to. The title of Assassins.
For accuracy, we have the camera. Painting is the higher art.
Snob.
Senatorial.
I would see a man fighting his age. It's consistent with his character up to now. Is that a Rolleiflex? Boy, that viewfinder's terrible.
Cigar or no cigar?
Rolleiflex. Points for me for guessing correctly.
And I can tell you this one is not an assassin.
Ooh, so there we get a first reference to the title. See a horse whisperer? Sure does look like it.
From whom?
From me.
Nice use of whom there. So where are we going with this horseplay? I can see there's the jealousy between Prince Philip and his fiancée. We know she's not going to break up her marriage because it's a historical fact. Obviously, they're still together today. So where are they going with this?
He has other passions. So I hear.
Dum dum dum. So you know, I mentioned earlier, but we hadn't seen. Yeah, I was about to say it. We hadn't seen if he has been unfaithful to her. I don't think they've shown us that. And I do believe there are rumors of that. And so Margaret had to get that last dig in there for ending the conversation. I imagine that's what she was implying.
Avenged that defeat by winning us the lost election. I won us that, Winston! I won that!
Yeah, showing that kind of emotion, that anger.
People,
That's
I
a bit,
have something that you will never see again.
It's youth. No? Some nice lighting he's got arranged there. Not one for small talk, I see.
I came to painting quite late.
And now that you've found it, you'll never leave it, yes? Yeah, I quite understand.
Talking about him in politics?
Just remember that.
Whippersnapper!
Or is anyone else you wanted to speak to here?
No.
He's in a very special position to get a direct line to the Queen.
What is it?
Nothing.
What?
Nothing.
Oh yeah, the marriage is not in a good state. Churchill's trying to see if he can achieve the same level as a professional, the one that's painting his portrait. So trying to understand the man.
But I do take comfort from the fact that your own work is so honest and revealing.
Oh. Thank you for the
So
compliment.
in other words, I'm not going to be flattering to you.
Terrible despair. Hiding like a leviathan, like a sea monster.
So a painter or a psychologist?
You saw all that.
Yes, I did.
And tea reader. Tea leaf
Perhaps
reader.
that says more about you than me.
Yeah, perhaps. That could be true too. Yeah, you gotta give it to him. It could be the case.
Yes, thank you.
What is going on with these two men?
We bought Chartwell a year after Marigold died. That was when I put in
Bond. So it's related to Marigold. Dum dum
the
dum.
pond.
It's like Sopranos, Tony Soprano going on about the ducks in the pond. Sometimes a rose is more than just a rose. So his height is really apparent in this scene.
Oh,
Look how tall he is, John Lithgow. So he's always trying to stoop over, not just because Winston's old,
I
but
look forward to seeing it.
he needs to hide his height. He's a very tall actor. Are they gonna,
Immediate engagement.
I must say I do like this.
watching the horses mate, are they gonna get
When it appears the feeling is mutual.
to thinking about themselves getting together?
And that his portrait was not just of me, but of the office I represent, indeed. of our entire system of government.
I don't think Sutherland's down with that. He's trying to get a portrait of the man, not the office. Yeah, it's honest.
A fine patriotic piece of modern art.
She knows he's not happy, right? He showed him old. He didn't want to be old. He didn't want to be depicted as old.
Murderous brush.
It's the assassin.
It is a betrayal of friendship.
Assassin or assassins?
Patriotic.
As regards to the friendship,
Clearly, there is
Assassins.
It is cruel.
age is cruel.
There it is. Gotta come to the fact, get adjusted to the fact you're getting old. We have a title of Assassins, plural. So this subplot with the Queen and her horse trainer. Are we gonna get the consideration of whether the horse trainer is the assassin of the Queen here, or the Queen is the assassin of the horse trainer? Well, the painting's overlooking him. That's a nice touch.
However, will I cope without you?
You will be fine, man.
And then we see the two
I
have
have
bonded.
nothing more to teach you. Your Majesty.
Oh, what a wonderful final scene between them. Oh, interesting. We're not going to hear what they say. Okay. They're going to show them getting it on like the series Silicon Valley did.
Yeah, look. There we go.
Oh, well, they're showing more than I thought. Okay. Oh. Well, once Silicon Valley had done that, I guess it became not so taboo.
I say.
Yeah, there's a lot more. We're definitely seeing a lot more than I expected. That's it? 1 minute, man?
Well done, Porche.
You didn't do anything?
Well, as long as you don't sit on him anytime soon.
Yeah, he's jealous because he's doing things he shouldn't be doing. It's gonna be a cold ride home? Cold, quiet ride? Yeah, cold, quiet ride home. You look over there, I'm gonna look over this way and glower for the rest of the ride home. So we're gonna get a fight? Or are they gonna have rapprochement? I got too many issues though to kind of get settled in one conversation.
The only person I have ever loved is you. And can you honestly look me in the eye and say the same?
Yeah, you get a hard scene. Is that Matt Smith, the actor? Had a hard scene to play there, being the heel. As an actor, there's not much you can do with that, but you still have to
My
show
lords, ladies and gentlemen,
something. You have to have an approach to the scene.
and Lady Churchill, I will remember you always, your magnanimity, your courage at all times.
So we're getting the pretty elevated words, and then all the tensions underneath that are hidden behind those words, behind the ceremony
And your
and the
unfailing
duty.
humor.
To be a lost masterpiece. I had thought there was a story behind it. The painting got lost, but probably for the series, they were going to posit that Churchill destroyed that painting. Not knowing anything about the painting, but I was guessing there was a story that the painting had got lost somehow. Very interesting. They gave us sort of this character, like they do at the end credits sometimes for movies, and then this character did this and this at the end. So I'm going to guess that's the last time we see Churchill, if they gave us his end story. Maybe there'll be a brief conversation with him over the phone between him and the Queen in the last episode, but I'm guessing that's it. That's our coda for Churchill and for the actor playing Churchill. Can't remember his name, even though it usually comes right to my head. So okay, that's my reaction to episode number 9. Please join me in a second. I'll give you my review. I'll watch the episode twice more, and then do some research and come back with my thoughts. Hello, welcome back, and now my review of the episode. I do want to point out, I'm not sure if I mentioned it at the top, that this got a score of 9.2 on IMDb, and it is this episode for which John Lithgow won his Emmy for his portrayal of Winston Churchill. And I do remember that this was a significant episode. I had mentioned that I've managed to avoid the majority of spoilers about the show, but the one thing that was spoiled, I knew there was an important Churchill episode coming up, and it was episode 9. I was just really vague on the details of that episode. And one reason it was significant also was that John Lithgow received that recognition for his performance in this role. Now, my thoughts about the episode, the first thing I noticed was that the opening was quite disorientating because we had not been introduced to the character of Porchy, and so they had to sort of jam him into the episode in order for us to have basic information about him, his relationship to Elizabeth, and how that created conflict within her marriage. If the season had been a little longer, and this is more of a critique about the format of the 10-episode season, I have come to favor the 13-episode season because there's more room to develop secondary characters. The reason I point that out here is that if it had been a longer season, a 13-episode season, we would have either have already been introduced to the character of Porchy, so that I would not be disorientated and confused about who we were following at the beginning of the episode, because we already would have known. Or if it had been a longer season, we not only would we not be confused about who this character was, we probably would have already learned about this conflict between Elizabeth and Philip, and the way that Porchy, the role he played within that failing marriage. So that opening was, I didn't care for it so much. But the one thing I thought that was interesting about the opening was that they drew parallels between Porchy and his fiancée, as he's asking her to marry him, and the strained relations between Elizabeth and Philip. Because in both scenes, and they're played in parallel, there's an element of pretense. Porchy's fiancée is concerned that he still harbors feelings for Elizabeth. And at the moment where he says, "There's only been you," that's the exact moment where we see Elizabeth feigns sleep as Philip comes in quite late. And she knows that he's coming in late because she's been staying up worried about him, and sees in the window as his car arrives. So she only pretends to be asleep to avoid having any sort of confrontation with Philip. So there's an element of pretense within her marriage that also exists within the relationship between Porchy and his fiancée. That's the reason why they show those two scenes in parallel. Now, to go on to the main storyline of the episode, which is the Churchill storyline. Both of the main threads within the episode, that of Elizabeth and Churchill, have a good deal of subterfuge, where there is overt action occurring within the plot that is confounded or made complicated by subconscious emotions or subconscious conflict that's attached to a secondary action. So Elizabeth mating her prize-winning horse is only the means of drawing out the conflict between her and Philip. And here, the painting of Churchill is a means of drawing out the conflict between him and his own party who want to replace him, and also between him and his blindness to death, his oncoming death, mortality and age and frailty, and all that eventually gets drawn out between the parallel between him and the painter Sutherland, both of whom have suffered loss in their life. And Churchill admits that perhaps his painting of the pond is his way of sublimating or dealing with the sublimated grief of the loss of his fifth child, his youngest daughter, Marigold, who passed when she was 2.5. And I'm not smart enough to have seen this parallel, but earlier in the season, in episode 3 or 4, the episode titled Act of God, we see that there is a character, Venetia Scott, the assistant to Churchill, who gets killed. And someone on Reddit pointed out that his feelings for her could very well be a way of him dealing with his feelings of loss for Marigold. Maybe he saw in Venetia the lost daughter that he didn't have, and that's why he responded so strongly to her passing. And if that is the case, if that was something brought out by the writers, that's super level writing, because we as the audience would never have been aware that there was going to be a parallel between that and Marigold until this, the penultimate episode, episode number 9. So either it was something thought about in the writer's room by the showrunner, or it is just a happenstance that there is a confluence, a match between the characters of Anisha and Marigold. But in any event, it highlights that Winston is someone who's somehow, his nurturing instinct, his paternal instinct, was denied to him on some level within his family, and maybe he sees England as his outlet for that paternal instinct. And so it cuts even closer to the bone when he is asked by his party to step down from the role of leadership that he has occupied for so long. Another way that we get an insight into the character of Churchill is that when he's out there at the pond painting, his wife comes out and asks if he is winning the battle. So everything for Churchill, even in a more docile act of creativity like painting, gets framed in the view of win-loss, of victors and the defeated. And so that also points out how he's never going to step down from leadership lightly, because for him it's more than just serving his country. For him it's battle, it's virility, it's life itself. One thing I want to point out, just a little bit of trivia, is that the actor who played Sutherland was the same actor who played Stannis Baratheon on A Game of Thrones. And the name of that actor, he deserves to have his name mentioned, because he does such a wonderful job in both series, is, and I'm stalling for time, hoping that I'll find it as I scroll through the listing on IMDb, and I have found it. It is Stephen Delane. I could be saying it could be Stephen or Stephen Delane, and I didn't even recognize him. Again, someone on Reddit pointed that out. I was not quite bright enough to to recognize that it was the same actor. I think I've kind of drawn to a conclusion. The last thing I want to mention is that one of the sources I turn to in my research before I come back and do my review is Abbey Research. They have a YouTube channel that views these things with more of a feminist angle, and so I thought I should point out, because I noticed from them and from some commentators on Reddit that there is a sizable contingent of the audience who is in this program for Queen Elizabeth, pretty much. The title of the show is The Crown, and for them that is Queen Elizabeth. There are others who enjoy the idea that the Crown is both Downing Street and Buckingham Palace, and so it's the relationship between the prime ministers that she serves with or serve under her. I don't think they serve under the Queen. That's a relationship I'm not quite clear on. If the prime minister is seen as serving under the Queen at the behest of the Queen serves alongside the prime minister. But in any event, there are those in the audience, among whom I include myself, that enjoy also seeing the role that prime minister plays within the crown, within the power of the monarchy. And I enjoy the moments where we get to see the sausage making that goes on in Parliament, and the inner turmoil that happens within the prime minister, and what relationship they draw with the Queen, and how that draws out that tension between the private and personal that the Crown's also focused on. But so all that is great for me. I do want to point out, though, there are those that wish there was more focus on the Queen. And one reason for that criticism is that, at least until we get to Margaret Thatcher, the prime minister is just going to be yet another white male. And every time you focus on the prime minister, you're focusing on a white male. You're not focusing on whatever agency the Queen and those in her retinue are able to form within that very constrained role of being the royal family. And so I think it's significant to mention that, even if it's not a view that I share. And that's all I got. Where do we go on time? We recorded about 9 minutes. So I'm done. Please leave your comments in the thread below. I do enjoy the people who leave comments The audience for The Crown is very intelligent, very thoughtful, and because I am an American and I'm doing my research. I'm trying to learn more about the history of England and the history of the monarchy. There are a few books that I've read as I've watched the series. I've linked to them before. Notably, the book they just put out in conjunction with The Crown is very useful. I finished an 800-page biography of the Queen. I'm in the middle of watching a 24-episode, 30-minute lecture series on the history of England, older England, Tudor England. So I'm in there, but I'm still not quite up to snuff. There are areas where I draw a blank, like the precise nature of the relationship between the Prime Minister and the Queen, for example. So anytime you can post a comment that clarifies those things for me, I'm much appreciative of that. And all the comments have been very kind and gentle. So again, I thank you. Great audience. And that's all I got for now. So until next time, when we get the final episode of season 1, we've made it. Even though there was that long delay between episodes 8 and 9, and I mentioned that was for health reasons, but I hope that episode 10 will come out much sooner than that, hopefully within a month of when this first airs. And that's all I got. So until next time, take care and be well. Goodbye.